We will call the meeting to order. Young County Commissioners Court sitting in a regular meeting Monday, November 13th, 2017. It is 9:30 a.m. Make note that this meeting was posted in the manner for the time required, that all members of the court are present. If it's convenient, please stand. Thank you.
Let us pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we just ask you to be with us today. We just ask you to bless all that are present today in this courtroom. Father, we just ask you to guide and direct us as we face issues to better our county, better our communities. Father, we just want to continue to acknowledge the veterans as we had Veterans Day this past weekend, and we just want to salute their service of what they've done and their courage, and we just encourage the younger people to respect their countries as these veterans did in the past. And Father, we just ask those that are ailing and those that are sick that you just put your hand over there and help them heal and beat their problems and their illnesses. And Father, we just ask you to continue to guide and direct us and work your will in our lives. Amen. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Thank you.
Couple of comments, announcements, presentations. These are no action items. We limit this to a maximum of 5 minutes. If there is any, I do not have any announcements on the item. Is there any announcement that any of the commissioners make?
Christmas stroll coming up November 30th. That's a Thursday evening.
November 30th. Stroll and parade.
I believe one of the PA announcers is here. Also, they moved the Granbury football game from Friday to Thursday, so it'll be Thursday at 7 p.m. instead of Friday.
Is that
In Springtown.
In Springtown?
In Springtown.
Against?
Hillsborough.
I told this morning it was still Friday night.
They switched it. I'll tell you later.
Is there any member of the public out here that would like to announce something or give any comments in this item? If not, we'll move on to item number 3A, and that's to discuss October activity report for jail and sheriff's department.
Jail.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Up on population.
Actually, kind of down a little bit. We've been averaging, it's been around 74 to 80.
And which one were transport miles?
A lot more people going to prison. That's about it. It wasn't a whole lot of, things have changed. Everything's kind of down a little bit, except for the mileage.
That MHMR visits continue to hold that 16, 17, 18 mark.
Because they're always going to be, they're
Same.
weekly meetings. Something else that I talked to Judge about the other day is we started housing some Baylor County inmates, $45. And $50, so.
We'll get that.
Do you have a
contract.
contract?
Excuse me.
Oh, I'm sorry. Are you having to pick them up?
No, but they're just short people and staff, so we've been kind of,
Are they sending us their vegetables?
oh, absolutely.
I would.
Yeah, the last one was pretty, I mean, they're,
So they transport.
How many did they bring?
I think we've had 4 or 5 since the last I talked to you.
That's good.
I think so. We had a meeting this morning, Miss didn't tell me how many, I'm sure. I'm sorry. Yes. Oh, yeah. If you don't mind. Everything's kind of still the same on this. The only thing that's changed on was the arrest, as far as drug arrests last month. We didn't have any. So,
No, this ain't the one
but this was in November.
that Devin.
So the next month we'll have a little bit, that 150 grams Devin got,
That's a good one.
you know. So, which brings me to the other matter that we have is the vehicle that was,
Is there anything else in regard to this item 3A? If you want to ask the sheriff. Okay, we'll move on then to item 3B. And that's discuss replacement of record patrol vehicle for sheriff's office.
and I'm not for sure if any of all y'all realize that they did tone that out, so. Leave us one down. I talked to Billy Hughes. He said that with it being totaled, we need to decide whether we want to, what we want to replace it with. And he said that he can pretty much find us a vehicle pretty quick if we want to make a decision on getting one.
Okay, walk us through that a little bit. I know that it was involved with a bus, school bus vehicle. And,
Yeah.
was a rear end collision, was there a third party involved in, did it?
No, because he had seen the bus coming and turned the wheels and tried to get away from it to the side, and it's when it, so he missed the vehicle in front of him.
No damage to the third vehicle?
As far as I know, there wasn't a third vehicle.
Okay.
In fact,
What's your children?
yeah, apparently the bus, what they told me, was full, so the kids were very lucky. Jay spent the last week off with a concussion. So other than that, we were fortunate. No one got hurt. Seriously.
Which vehicle was it?
It was one of the pickups we purchased last year.
How many miles we did have on it?
I'm not for sure. Do you know how many miles?
He didn't give me the mileage on it.
I'm not for sure.
Yeah, I know it didn't have to.
I think it has,
What was the, you said it totaled, but what was the money?
I don't think they told us yet, have they?
they haven't told us because originally they didn't total it. And then after we visited about the problems that was wrong with it, they came back and totaled it. He said that he would get with Billy Hughes and they would talk about it and we'll arrive on the price from there. They
So
haven't got
the
that
claim
back.
is proceeding smoothly.
Yes.
And from what Billy has emailed me, he said that that the insurance will be paying for almost all of it, so he must know a number that I don't know. So,
I believe we're gonna pay for the transfer of the equipment too.
we're
Yes.
gonna call Dwayne. I told him I wanted Dwayne to come down and we'll take care of all the equipment out of it. And that way, whenever we get ready to put it back into the new one, we can just take it all over there and let them do it. not having to piece stuff back together.
And Mr. Stone said they would absorb that cost us also, the adjuster with the ISD. So,
So I'm supposed to get back with Billy, he's supposed to let me know what
Two
our
insurance-
options are.
Two insurance companies covering that, I mean, are they?
As far as I know, everything that the insurance company with the school.
School will be doing
So they accepted 100% liability on this.
yes, we will have a little bit of lost time, but, through workman's comp, but they will subrogate that out, and they will pick it up, and it'll be a wash for
it.
us.
Work out.
So,
Is there any,
they take total liability.
if this is itemized as action item, do we want to pursue any action on that currently, or do we want to just let that lay until?
I would like to see, you know, what they're gonna do and how much money we're gonna get, and then come back and talk about it again about the vehicle, because I'm not 100%, you know, happy with the pickups anyway, so I wanna see what we're gonna get, and see what we can do about getting one of the Tahoes instead of that, so.
Okay, you know, suggest it.
I suggest we table the action
Table
until
this.
we get more numbers.
Our next
Yes, sir.
meeting?
I'll
Maybe
second
mine.
that. I'll second that, Judge.
Find out where we are.
Motion Sipes. We've got a motion by Commissioner Sipes and a second by Commissioner Pruitt to table this item until our meeting of November 27th.
Seven.
I'm sorry. He has already been cleared and back to duty, so. Usually only for concussions, it's like 1 week, and I believe that we've had at least 2 doctors check him out.
All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. 5-0. Okay, thank you, Ray.
Regular doctor. Thank you, Judge.
Move on to item number 4, and that's consider county clerk minutes of previous meetings, that being October the 23rd and October the 26th, of 2017.
So moved.
Have a motion by Commissioner Wiley, second by Commissioner Rogers, to accept those minutes as presented, with no corrections or deletions or additions. Is that correct?
That's what we did, she took care of
Very
it.
good. Both the 23rd and the 26th. All in favor?
You quit with the
Okay,
I
item-
like the pickup.
Item number 5 is consider auditor's budget amendments and
I don't have
payment of
budget,
vouchers.
don't have budget amendments
Good.
today.
Yay.
We're still paying a few bills out of the 17 budget, and then I'm having more bills out of 18. I did do some of the contribution, I think, some of the money to the Humane Society, and then the fire department needs to pay their insurance, so we're giving them not completely everything, because we don't really get our tax money until December and January. So we've got a little bit to juvenile probation, so they can pay us. So we give to them so they can get back. So out of the 17 budget, the total is $136,641.63. And of the general, it's $22,229.15, which in that total contains that $10,876.25 that we'll talk about on the unemployment deficit. It was a 17 quarter, so we paid it out of 17 budget. Out of the 18 vouchers, total is $208,842.76. And out of the general, it's $174,773.16.
Okay,
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Wiley, a second by Commissioner Pruitt to approve vouchers payable. In each instance, that's 2017 at 136,641.63. 2018, 208,842.76. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Is there any further discussion? All in favor? Carried.
We are getting really close to having all of the 17 bills. You know, my objective would be to make sure anything that has a September or earlier date is supposed to be paid out 17. And we got the Walmart and the Amazon, which they were broken out this time. So we're getting really close to shut this down.
Okay, is there anything further?
Not on vouchers. Do you want to talk about these other things any?
Okay. Consider Nortex Regional Planning Commission annual membership dues for FY 2018, really,
Yes, sir.
for $1,039.86. I think that's customary. I think that's what was budgeted last year, and what was paid last year, and budgeted also this year.
So moved.
I don't think we need to move since it's added into the budget, we do.
We had it in there.
Is it in there?
Yes. Budgeted out.
Yes.
Motion by Commissioner Wiley, and second by Commissioner Sykes to authorize the payment due for 2018 for membership dues in the amount of $1,039.86 to Nortex Regional Planning Commission. All in favor? Carried 5-0. Okay, our tax unemployment deficit.
Yes, sir, and our quarterly contributions are usually, I think, around $1,300 a quarter. In the second quarter of 17, we had several people on this unemployment, which out of those, I think, I don't think any of them are on there anymore. Anyway, it caused a deficit for that quarter. After what they used, they try to keep some in there. So what we had over, because I think it was originally like 14,000 something, so we had a little bit of the money. So it caused us to have the deficit of 10,876.25 for that quarter. So, I think these things run a little behind. And like I said, I paid it back out of 17 budget, so when that's audited, that line's blown out of proportion.
Where does that money come from?
Well, the money the budget's just very, very negative. So this will be something whenever Mike Edgen is auditing us, that I'll have to show him why. Yes.
Unemployment benefits pool, we have that through tax, and they require a specific amount in deposit or on deposit with them for these. And this situation ran us into a deficit where we didn't have the required amount in.
Was that 2 times in 17 we had to do that, or was that first
Yeah,
time was
we-
in 16?
I'll have to look back. I was thinking there was
There was
one
no
other
more
last
time.
year that,
It's
that
been
did
twice in
also.
17 we did it.
Remember, sometimes they pay us for a quarter that we have,
Yeah.
Yeah, not long ago, we got 20,000.
So they gave us that money back so we could
credit your
give to
account to
them.
give you the checks and pay them back.
So this is 10,000 in excess of what we had in the account?
Yes, sir.
I move that we pay that.
I'll second that.
Have a motion by Commissioner Simons, and a second Commissioner Wiley, to deposit with Texas Association of Counties for our unemployment compensation deficit in the amount of $10,876.25 as requested. All in favor?
Aye.
Carried 5-0.
In our gas 45 report, which as soon as 17 was over, Marcia gets the spreadsheet to Jim Owen, the gentleman that with Capris that does our report. And he was very prompt about getting that done. And we'll give that on to Mike Edgen to add something he has to add into his audit also. And the price is still $3,400, which it's been $3,400 since I think we started 4 or 5 years ago with Jim.
Has cap risk audit, does that have to do with the employee benefits?
Yes, it's the retirees and the retirement, and so to show our liability.
We've got all those each year.
Yes. So,
Paid to who?
to Cap Risk, it's Jim Owen is the gentleman that owns Cap Risk, and that Marshall works with him.
And what are we getting for that money?
We're getting a GASB 45 report that we have to have, so somebody has to do it, and it has to be and like I said, this firm has done it since this has come into play, and he's never gone up on the price on it, which,
And it is
3,400.
So moved, and this too is budgeted item.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Wiley, second by Commissioner Sipes, to authorize the payment to Cap Risk of $3,400 for our Cap Risk audit for 2017. All in favor?
I believe that come into effect right after we got a year after we opened the jail.
oh, okay, so
I
about
believe that's right.
7.
Yeah, about 07 that way.
So he's been doing this for, he's not.
That's the only one that's got down here.
Yes, sir.
All in favor?
Aye.
5-0. Okay. Okay, consider NACO annual membership dues, $450. I think there's a,
We're going to come with that one too. Because on it, it says board and committee participation, telecommunications technology steering committee, remember Eric said it?
Yeah, I saw that, I told them, I just showed that to Marcia, I said, you see that, we need to call when we get that changed. I think we all, don't y'all get that newsletter from NACO also? And, you know, we've talked about it before, and I think on the prescription drug fund, like I say, anyone in the community can use those, and obviously, some people are. They said we have a total savings of $134,032.
Is that on our website?
I'm not sure.
It was.
We need to make the public aware of that.
Yeah, because we have information, I think, in our.
And I have taken it to different pharmacies.
Yeah,
Okay.
NACO cards.
cards that will help with some prescriptions.
Like I said, if we could put that on our website, it'd be great.
That's the only thing I had a problem with was his name.
Yes,
Other
yeah.
than that, I moved it.
It changes the cost.
Pay it.
No,
I'll second that.
okay, the motion being,
To pay the bill.
Pay the bill.
we have a motion by Commissioner Pruitt and a second by Commissioner Sipes to approve the NACO annual membership in the amount of $450 as annual membership due. And they quote, Young County is having a total savings of $134,032 for individuals using the program. Okay, all in favor? Carried 5-0.
thank you.
Yes, ma'am, thank you. Item number 6, consider treasurer's financial report, updates on securities. Do we have any?
There's updates on securities. I'm holding off on the
Bob.
report until we get everything out of 17 paid. I have them all balanced, but I want to show what we paid out of 17 on the September
Looks like it
report.
shows an excess pledge of about 5 million, 5.5 million.
Yeah, about 51.
So moved.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Wiley and a second by Commissioner Rogers to accept the updates on securities pledge as issued, presented by Sierra Bank. All in favor? Carried 5-0. Nothing else, Ms. Berger?
Nothing. We did, well, I have one more thing. We did have to move some more money out of the money market to keep us flowing.
Yeah.
We moved 300,000. But we still have reserves, so that's good.
Because we have moved.
We'll get that
quite a
put
bit
back,
of
I suppose.
Yes,
Yes.
hopefully.
Yes.
Item number 7 is consider extension agent Miranda Revel report and request reimbursement of $700.07, and Justin Rogers for $724.61 as presented by their reports.
I move that we approve those requests for reimbursement.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Sykes, and a second by Commissioner Wiley to approve reimbursements as requested by Miranda Revel and Justin Rogers, our extension agents. All in favor? Carried 5-0. And I might add that I got enough time to slip out there to the arena last Thursday, I believe it was, to participate in the, I believe it's a Tri-County Beef Cattle Symposium, I guess you would call it. Pesticide, continuing education hours. Very good, had some very good presentations. I commend them on the program that they presented.
If I may add here, because we're talking about 4-H right now, in the Vernon meeting was very much centered on extension compliance. And our extension agents are doing a very good job of presenting the programs that they're being handed by Texas A&M. They got a tremendous load now. There's a lot of programs. And I urge everyone in the public and all of you here to take advantage of those programs. Once again, our extension agents are doing a really great job of serving this community, this area of Texas, not only just Young County. Like I said, I commend them. The 4-H program is very healthy. And Justin Rogers is doing a very good job with the show animals as well as the information outlets out of his office to the people in Young County. Also, we started remodeling the building for the demonstration kitchen we had in the budget. So we're starting to work on that. You guys want to come out, and any of you want to come out and look at what we're doing to that small kitchen out there to facilitate a better experience for those 4-H kids as well as for our extension agents, please come on out back.
Also, I've heard that the barn that's housing all these show animals out there at the arena, they've got a large number of animals out there, pretty well maxed out for their talking, so.
All right.
So, sound like they got room for 80, would be 80-something hogs supposed to be out there, so. It's looking good.
Wish that's how cute that I am. They might not fit the quality there, but hogs are awful bad. All over.
Yeah, the wild.
You know, they have one of those events, they already have to be able to get a wild hog and tame it down and show it. That's one of their events.
Mustang makeover.
Yeah.
The problem is taking it down and showing it, we can get the hog.
I don't know what you do with those tushies.
Cut them off.
Okay, item number 8 is consider govdeals.com auction service presentation from Benjamin Van Buskirk.
Close enough, Van Buskirk. It just looks scary. Thank you all so much for the opportunity to come in this morning.
But I think it's more
Van is Dutch,
yeah.
but the Buskirk part is definitely German. So I'm Benjamin Van Buskirk from Gov Deals. We do surplus auctions, basically when a county, a city, school districts, any type of government agency that gets public funding wants to get rid of their old equipment, that's what we do. So all of our sellers are public agencies, but anybody can buy from us. So we're open to the public in terms of buying, and the Gov part of Gov Deals is that all of our sellers are government agencies. The last 2 pages of that information is people in the state of Texas, entities that have used us, counties, cities, everybody from the city of Wichita Falls, Rockwall County, Eastland Sheriff's Office has used us. So it's about 200 in the past year, Texas agencies. And then we're nationwide. We've had over 10,000 agencies sign up with us across the country. Some of them are smaller. I want to always be honest and say not everybody sells with us every year. We get a lot of volunteer fire departments. They might sell once every 4 or 5 years, but we have probably 4,000 or 5,000 entities a year that sell through us across the nation.
Is there some kind of interlocal agreement, contract, or anything like that that has to go along with this?
So in terms of cooperative, the one I always tell people about is Buy Board. So many counties and school districts in Texas use Buy Board that I mentioned that one. We're awarded through another one in Texas called TIPS. But we've had a really long relationship with Buy Board, and so most people just use that one. It's very standard. Some of the cities on there, City of El Paso, City of Austin Police Services, Temple, and several counties. So we're also awarded through one out of Minnesota National Joint Powers Alliance, that's NJPA. It's kind of a big national cooperative, and I just mentioned that, because some people know that as well, but a lot of people in Texas just use our Buy Board agreement.
Benjamin, what do we go through to put an item on your website?
So it's very similar. I hate to use the comparison. It's similar to eBay. I mean, it's pictures and a description. 99% of our items are as is, where is, because all of our sellers are government agencies. Our buyers know that it's going to be well used. It may not be in the greatest condition, but 99% of the time it's as is, where is. Once in a while, we'll get an impound item, like a nice vehicle that they might start and run it and say it appears to be in good working order. But most of the time, counties and cities, they just put it up and say the vehicle was running when we took it out of service. We're not making any guarantees about the condition now. Pictures and a description, the buyer pays us 99% of the time. They come and pick it up, and then we send you a check.
So
Your commission is what?
Our total fee is, when we collect the money, is 12.5%, and you can make that a buyer's premium. So a lot of our newer sellers are just doing that. You make it a buyer's premium, they see that as part of the auction. And so in essence, there's not a fee charged to the selling entity, the buyer. The buyer pays it, exactly.
what do we pay to put something on there? Nothing?
Nope. So if you ever get a vehicle or a piece of heavy equipment, or if you're ever considering trading a vehicle in on a lease agreement, and you want to set a reserve just to see if we can beat that price, we see that a fair amount, where somebody will have a nice piece of equipment, they would put a reserve on it. If it doesn't meet it, you're not obligated to sell. And if it comes close, we do have the ability to do like a second chance offer for a buyer if it's close, but those are up to our sellers if they want to extend that, yes.
That's my next thing. It's
Yep.
like eBay. You
Yep.
put a minimum bid on it.
That's it. And we recommend, if you've got items that you're just trying to get rid of, it generally drives up more bidding if there's no reserve, just because if there is a reserve, a lot of times people are, they think maybe they're not going to be able to get that item, so they don't get involved. Items with no reserve tend to get everybody just bidding, just to kind of start the process to see, what it's going to go for. But we certainly sell a ton of items with a reserve. Boats for sheriff's offices. Occasionally we'll get a small plane from a utility district. So those.
But no reserve, you don't have to sell it if you don't get what you want.
If there's no reserve,
You have to sell it.
Technically, actually, we give our sellers, because of all of our sellers are public entities, we give them a lot of leeway, and we'll see situations where they'll need to pull something back. In our buyer's agreement, we actually give sellers the ability to pull even items with no reserve off, just because that happens.
What's the time element that you have to do that within 24 hours?
Yeah, it's
72?
you can cancel an auction anytime it's still up. It's more, if an item closes and you need to, you can't sell it, that becomes a little bit more difficult. But we have a whole bidders department. They work with our bidders. They kind of monitor that situation, and they try to help in those situations in terms
So
of.
you provide us the service of trying to accommodate those kind of disagreements?
Sure, those situations, yes. And
What
then
other services do you provide?
marketing, if you do have a vehicle, we provide online ads. We place a lot of ads in Rock and Dirt, and then we send out e-flyers to our previous buyers. We have a whole accounting department that deals with auditors, so you can access every item you've ever sold. If there is an audit, you need to find exactly what that item sold for, and you need to track it down. We provide all that through our website so that people can go in and get that. The bidders department is the other big one. We have a whole staff that kind of monitors new bidders, follows up on payments, contacts them to make sure they're coming to pick up the items. That's one of the departments that we get a lot of feedback on that's a little bit different than some of our competitors.
Sounds good, those that are in.
There's no expense to the for us, if someone buys it, we don't have to deliver it?
No, it's as is where, it's as is whereas, you know, some people.
Unless you advertise that we will deliver at actual cost or flat number amount.
Some people, what they do is they'll provide a link to UShip. They'll just provide an ability to get a quote for somebody, but most of our bidders.
So we basically
no.
set the parameters of the sale.
Yes, and that's, I mean, most of them, you'll see the standard conditions are all the same, and it's just basically as is, whereas we're not making any guarantees.
Yeah, because you wouldn't want to ship if somebody bought it from New York, right?
No,
It's nationwide.
It is nationwide, but, you know, I live in Austin, and the City of Austin Fleet Services use us. They sell a ton of vehicles per week, and they do get people from Florida who, you know, bring a car hauler over, and they kind of figure that into their price, so.
What do you charge when you PO something?
When we charge for what?
If you PO something, in other words, you put a bid up, and we have reserve on it, do you charge anything?
Nope.
You don't sell it?
Nope, as I said, we get a lot of smaller departments, volunteer fire departments, and those organizations, or even a smaller police department that might have one vehicle every couple of years, and they hopefully need to get a certain price for it. If it doesn't sell, you know, there's no charge to them. It's only if it sells, and as I said, most people are now charging it as a buyer's premium.
Do all the titles come through you? Like we have the title and somebody buys a vehicle, we would send that title to you to get to the buyer?
Actually, we do have our sellers sign it over, so,
Okay.
you know, as long as you've got that, you know, occasionally we'll do impounds where they may not have that available, and we just make that clear as part of the auction. If we're selling like an impound vehicle, it's just a bill of sale, but the title is, it's generally just signing it over to the buyer.
When I visited with Benjamin down at the legislative conference, he started telling me all these things, and it sounded almost too good to be true, so I wanted to get him up here and make sure he would tell it in front of everybody.
Well, that's the other big thing we stress now is we're very transparent, and you know, our website is just govdeals.com. You don't have to create a username or password for anybody from the public to go look at it. You can pull up everything that's currently listed, everything that's closed for a year. We don't charge a fee for buyers to set up an account. There's no deposit. And as I said, you know, from there, we do limit the number of auctions that new buyers can be a part of. But we have situations where somebody will move from a different entity to us, and we allow our sellers to kind of give new bidders the ability to bid on more auctions. Otherwise, we limit that to kind of make sure.
Do you have exclusivity on that item? Can we sell it elsewhere if we?
We would prefer not at the same time, but as part of our understanding is we're not exclusive. You know, there's some scenarios where people say, you know, we just want to give this to another county, or we want to sell it in a different way. We have no problem with that. At the same time, creates some issues in terms of just it being on the website, but that's about the only thing.
It's not exclusive. It's not exclusive.
No, we certainly see that. As much as I would like to say that everybody who signed up with us has used us and only us from that point forward, it doesn't quite happen that often, but you know, we like to think we do a good job, but you're always welcome to use another service or.
We would be at liberty to use one time and
Sure.
one another.
Sure, we just hope our service wins out, and you know, it's kind of a difference in terms of our exposure, but absolutely, we make sure people know that it's not exclusive.
You're just giving us the opportunity to go nationwide.
That's it,
Gives us
exactly.
a bigger buyer.
Right, exactly.
That would be it. That's, you know.
It makes sense. I mean,
To sign up on this is just
based on locally, basically.
internet.
Yep, it's right there at the bottom of that first page. It's just govdeals.com, contact us, become a seller. It's literally contact
Our
info.
affiliation with the buy board and our affiliation with TIPS.
Yep, if you, literally, there's a comment box at the bottom. If you say, please associate with your buy board award, that's it.
Okay.
That's, I mean, especially when I call on school districts, I've learned they have some new rules in terms of purchasing the school districts, and so I start every conversation with, we're awarded through the buy board. It makes things
So
go a lot faster.
We can set up 4 accounts, us 4 commissioners.
You could. Most counties just sign up one account. Once in a while, we'll see a sheriff's office sign up a separate account because they want to handle impounds differently. You know, we can sign up separate accounts, but most counties just do it together. You asked about our departments, and I mentioned accounting. They can even do sub-accounts, once in a while, we'll see a city, they want their public works funds to go in one account, their
Right.
police to go in another.
I got
We could also sign up our personal accounts also. right?
Well, to look, to browse.
To look,
Yeah.
browse.
Anybody can buy from us, right? Just in terms of sellers, it has to be a public entity, but anybody can buy from us, sure. And yes, I certainly hear lots of stories from commissioners and even fleet employees that once they learn about us, they look for other cities and other counties to see, an old vehicle. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So it's 12.5%, it doesn't matter, large ticket items, doesn't get a break on over quarter.
We do, yeah, I mean, once in a while, we'll see that, we do have a pricing structure, it's pretty high, I mean, but we do once in a while see that.
Don't have a break at 250.
It's-
6,000.
Yeah, I mean, that becomes a separate also account because our fee structure is set up for most sales, but we do have a scenario where I think it's reduced by a 0.5%, and I can certainly look that up and send it.
It was 250,000.
And that's, we see some scenarios where in that scenario, sometimes a county will split it with the buyer. They might set up a separate account, so they split it so that it's not as high of a buyer's premium. But again, most of our sellers, because, they're working for their constituents, they're just trying to get as much value as they can.
So you recommend listing something for 30 days?
The higher the value of the item, the longer, we want to get that exposure out there. We want to send out e-flyers and advertisements. We sell a lot of old desks and furniture for cities and counties. Those lower value items, 10 days to 2 weeks is probably plenty, but the higher the value, the longer it's up, the more eyes we can hopefully get on it.
Those things cost a lot of money.
You move those kind of things pretty often, the lower value, the desk.
Sure, I mean, it's hopefully, we hope our sellers aren't looking to get as much value, but I will tell you, a lot of people have figured us out as junk removal. If you can sell, we had this situation with a large county, they had several hundred old office chairs. They just wanted somebody to come get them. And they might have only sold each lot for $10, $20, $100 for some of the nicer ones. But then they didn't have to pay any of their warehouse staff to load them up, to crate them anywhere, to drive them off site. The buyers came and picked them up, and that was it.
So somebody paid them to haul them off.
Exactly, that's,
We have a local auction that pretty much takes care of that kind of thing.
sure, and that's, once in a while, we'll also see like a water tank, somebody will need to replace one, and that's that can be a pretty heavy cost to a city or a county to remove one of those. But if you can get somebody to, pay for the bond to do all that, and then just come and take it away, that's money that the entity doesn't have to spend.
Know that there's any necessary action to be taken on that. It looks like we can just do online. And
Yeah, and what,
sign up.
that's what most people do, and then once if you have a surplus vehicle, you'll run it through the court, and then you can just contact us. The other good thing about us is we're putting up items all the time. It's ongoing. You don't have to store a bunch of items for several months. Hope that nobody's picking parts off of them and that it still runs. As soon as you get a few items and you want some help, we also have a local client services rep. I'm the sales guy. He helps people once you're set up. He'll just contact you every once in a while and say, if you have anything that you need to sell, I can come and take pictures, or I can help you put it up online. Most people can do it themselves, but he's also available to help with it.
So would you recommend that the auditor's office set up an account and then we just put all of our stuff through them?
That's
Is
every.
that how most counties do it?
Yeah, every county is a little different because most commissioners' courts have to approve it. A lot of times they put the assistant in charge or just whoever's going to be available. But yes, most, it's either the auditor, treasurer, or some of the smaller counties, it's the judge. Some, it's a commissioner who's very familiar with our model. So, but as I said, normally it's one account, but I'm very sorry to hear about the sheriff's vehicles. We do wrecked vehicles. I mean, if you get in a situation where you just have a wrecked vehicle and it's just sitting there, I mean, as long as somebody will pay for it and come get it, we can do those as well.
And you do confiscations as well.
We do. We do firearms, but we only sell to FFL holders. But we do confiscations and impounds. I mean, we do a fair amount of impound vehicles. And as I said, keys, no keys, it'll just be a bill of sale, so we do those as well.
So let Marcia do it.
That's what she
If,
just said.
I don't know, what we're discussing about our collision that took place earlier. Provided the insurance company left the vehicle with Young County, then Young County could utilize it.
That's, I only mention it just because a lot of times people don't even think about that. You know, I'll go to counties a lot of times and they'll have 3 or 4 old vehicles just sitting in a precinct barn, just sitting there. And I say, you know, you can throw them up on our website. You might only get $500 or $1,000 for it, but that's money.
500,000 more you had.
And you could put it to use for something else. So, you know, I just
Total
mentioned that.
vehicle, whether it's insurance coverage, insurance companies will come get it.
That's it. We work with, you know, as I said, cities and counties all across the U.S. and, you know, unfortunately, accidents happen. As I said, we work with City of Austin Police Services. They sell a fair amount of wrecked vehicles. So,
Sound like a good idea.
Any further questions for Mr. Benjamin Van Buskirk?
that's it exactly.
So Marcia gets a contact.
Do you, auditor, assistant auditor, have any questions?
Is that okay?
If we do, we'll contact.
Sounds good.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Good job, Marcia.
Presentation.
And that too.
I'll just fill that up, no action yet. And I don't believe we need any, we can just get on there. Item number 9 is consider trading a 2015 Mack truck or a 2019 Mack truck for police option from American National Leasing Company, Stacy Rogers.
But 9 and 9A is basically about the same thing, but it's 2 different units, 2 different transactions, but it's the 2015 trucks that I bought 3 years ago, and been trying to tried to trade them last year, and it's like butting head against the wall with this salesman. We finally got the deal made, but now it's gonna be 2019, so we need a new truck, so my trucks will be 4 years old. We've got some paperwork associated with it. You got the new price and the trade-in price of $78,000, and we're gonna buy extended warranty, a 3-year extended warranty on them, and these are, the old trucks, 2015s are financed with the American Leasing Company right now. I've made arrangements with them. They'll just take the lease agreement, the existing lease agreement, roll it over to a new lease for either 3 years or 5 years. Hasn't been determined yet. 3-year lease is about $13,000 a year. The 5-year lease is about $13,000 a year. And the 3-year lease is about $21,000 a year. So, delivery on these will be, each. Delivery will be around January. I started this deal in August and just now got it completed. Like I said, but it's a good salesman. I don't know if I'll do it again or not, but it's basically they're rigged up just like I've got now. Same specs, same trucks, keep them in warranty. Payments will be made with budgeted money that I have budgeted. I just got them listed one at a time. It's 42, bottom line is $42,000 for the trade of each truck. Any
42?
questions?
So 84.
Yeah, 42 for each truck, yeah.
But they use 5 for it, don't they?
Yeah, this is a buy-board deal,
So that's why we
and,
don't
yeah,
have
it's low 50,000, it's a buy-board deal, so,
How many miles is the truck on?
it's like 53,000, 53.
Both of them?
Each. So we've got it narrowed down to 2 road trucks is what we use. So we keep them in warranty and, trying to hold the value. questions?
So you've had them 3 years?
Yeah, it'd be coming up forward. Yeah, the time we'll get the deal made. We're going from 2015s to 2019s, so that's 4 years.
$13,000 a year.
Yeah, it's money, it cost me about 87.50 a year to run my truck.
Okay, what do you want to do?
I'm gonna make the motion, to make these trades.
One second.
You want to run 9 and 9A together?
Just separate.
Separate? Okay. Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Rogers and a second by Commissioner Wiley to authorize the trade of one 2015 Mack truck for one 2019 Mack truck on a lease from American National Leasing Company, is that correct?
Yeah. Lease purchase, I guess. To the buy board agreement.
Does have a buyback agreement on it with it? Buy board. Purchase. Okay, any further discussion? That's item number 9, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, carried, 5-0. 9A,
Same thing.
motion by Commissioner Rogers. Got the same second?
Yes.
Second by Commissioner Wiley to authorize the trade of one 2015 Mack truck for one 2019 Mack truck on a buy board purchase with lease option from American National Leasing Company. All in favor?
Aye.
That's the precinct 3. Item, Stephen?
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Please take one.
I didn't borrow your truck.
Anybody want to buy those trucks? Item number 10 is discuss, consider resolution number 052, Young County Commissioners Court resolution adopting county hotel occupancy tax. Commissioner Sykes put this on the agenda. Let him explain some, if you will.
Yes, sir. As you gentlemen may recall, during the budgeting process back in June, we discussed the fort's budget with our custodian caretaker about the expenses at the fort. And because of the deteriorating situation at the fort, and our inability to be able to keep up with that deterioration of the fort, expenses were getting rather large. Obviously, it was time that we did something for Fort Belknap. Either use it or lose it. I offered to proceed to investigate the occupancy tax, hotel occupancy tax for Young County. During that period, I must say that I have been educated a great deal as to exactly what this can do. Gentlemen, we have a unique opportunity at this court to do something very fine for the citizens of Young County and ensure our historic legacy in this county, which is very rich. And Fort Belknap is the spear point of that entire program. Cook County had recently installed an approved resolution for a hotel occupancy tax. So along with Miss Krista Dela Cruz and Jennifer Knight, we all took over and went over to Gainesville. As you know, Gainesville has a very strong historic program and a strong convention visitors bureau program. Except I don't think they have a convention visitors bureau, do they? And we discussed this with Judge Brinkley, who was responsible for these documents that are in front of you today. And after visiting with him and the mayor of Gainesville, I was assured that this is the right thing for us to do. This will enable us to not only repair and restore and renovate the fort, it'll also give us the ability to put Fort Belknap in the proper light in this region of Texas, and as a matter of fact, in this whole state of Texas, to the historical significance that we have in that site. We have a very precious resource there. We should not neglect it, and we should actually use it, and by passing this resolution for this occupancy tax, we will be able to not only create a wonderful historic site for people to visit, we'll also create an economic generator for this community and this county. You understand that we're asking for an occupancy tax from the people who supply rooms to our visitors. And because we are getting the money through them, we need to make certain that we are doing the things that this occupancy tax is supposed to do. That is to restore, renovate, market Fort Belknap. Restoration is just a beginning place for the occupancy tax. As you all know, we have several functions going on out there, Fort Belknap Days, crawfish and cannons, that are lacking from monetary energy, needs help, but they are the beginning places for some very strong tourism functions at Fort Belknap. This gives us the possibility of resurrection of Fourth at the Fort, which for so many years was one of the very important functions at Fort Belknap. It also gives us the ability to take care of that grape arbor that we have lamented not having money to repair. And it takes us all off the backs of our taxpayers and places it on our visitors, because if we give them something to come see in Young County and Grand Texas, they help us better what they're coming here for. This means that the county is going to benefit from it, every taxpayer in the county, within the boundaries. I've had a great opportunity to visit with these people who are here today. They have been a great help. I needed their help, and they provided a lot of direction and help in discussing this and getting it as it should be. Once we install the tax and get the money flowing into the account, it will be 2019 before we think about spending any of the occupancy tax money, because we will be budgeting money that's been collected rather than money that's promised. So later on in the, early on in the year, or late winter now, we will discuss how the administration of this money will take place. But as of right now, we need to give our hotels, bed and breakfasts, tourist homes, when they notice that this occupancy tax will go into effect on January 1st of 2018. Give them plenty of time to recognize what's going on. Most of them know how it's going to be spent. I had a very good meeting with the CVB. Thank you very much for the opportunity to meet with you, with all the hotel owners and all participants that will be participating in this. And almost to a man, they were very positive about it. Some had some concerns, but those concerns have been addressed. So, gentlemen, I think that the Young County Hotel Occupancy Tax Resolution is something that we not only should pass, it's something this county needs to pass. So, with that being said, I would like to move that we adopt Young County Commissioners Court Resolution number 52052 and begin the collection of a hotel occupancy tax in Young County.
Okay, before we get a second, let's discuss that just a little bit. I do think that Young County is authorized to assess the hotel motel occupancy tax according to 352 02810. That's already been discussed a number of times before in the past. It's related mostly to the unincorporated areas of the county, of which I think there can be a 7-cent hotel occupancy tax assessed on those places like that. Now, just a few, it would just affect a few, and I do believe that there is 3 cents on the table in the city of Vaughn that can be picked up by Young County upon this resolution. I question whether or not we're eligible for the 2-cent addition. That is very complex law and legislation that applies to that. This particular resolution and the amendment to 352 and 353 is specific to Cook County. It doesn't authorize Young County to do that.
That was a contribution to this from Cook County. They had to go through a legislative process in order to be eligible to have the occupancy tax in Cook County. We don't have to do that because the legislation is already here, so that entire...
This is specific to the 2-cent extra.
No, they started out with a different tax amount.
I believe so, and I'd like,
I believe that...
before we adopted that, I'd like to get absolute clarity whether we're eligible for that or not.
Again, during the discussions we were having with the CBB, who has been collecting an occupancy tax in Graham for quite a while, we were allowable. Chris, would you like to address that, Bob?
Sure, there is a maximum within the city limits. I believe it's 13%. Do you know off the top of your head?
Could you introduce yourself?
I'm sorry.
Yes.
And I apologize, I'm struggling. But I'm Kristen Dela Cruz, CEO of the Chamber and CVB. So within the city limits of Graham, there is a maximum allowable. I believe it's 13%, and we're currently collecting 8.7%. 7%, sorry, 7% that we're currently collecting.
13% maximum. 6 of that is for the state, and the local governments are allowed to pick up 7 cents. I think Graham is already at 7 cents inside the city limits.
Correct.
The 2% is above that, and there are some counties that are authorized to do that. It's 8.25 in some counties, or 8.5, and it's 8.9 in a few counties. 2245, the legislation that went through our legislature this year, is specific to Cook County. If you're not under 100,000, which we are, and if you're not adjacent to Lake Ray Roberts, then you're not eligible under the amendment of this. We're eligible to get a hotel occupancy tax under 352.002A10, of which we've discussed a number of times, and we haven't adopted that. And I'm in favor of adopting that resolution, but I question real seriously whether we're in line for the additional 2 cents inside the city of Graham.
Is there,
legally.
does the state hotel occupancy tax figure into the maximum the city can charge?
No.
Is what?
The state tax does not figure into that maximum that the city can charge. So
Yes, it
therefore,
does.
it would be under the amount that
Yes, it does.
does.
A combination between county, city, other local taxes to a maximum of 13%.
So the state is 6.
The state is 6, the city is 7, to create 13%.
The city's already 8.
No, there's 7.
The city is 7%. Their hotel occupancy tax is 7 cents. That doesn't leave any on the table for Young County to
Collecting in the city.
get, I think, on 2%. I think the other, is in the resolution, you've got
2%
5 cents from the city of Onley, which would technically be the 3 cents that's on the table, and the 2 cent special tax that's specified in, I believe it's 352.003. I don't believe that we're eligible, if you'll read that closely, I don't think we're eligible for those taxes. Because the amendment in 2445 is specific to, it's very specific. It's to counties under 100,000 and counties adjoining like
Yeah,
railroads.
that whole situation over Cook County is not, of course, not affected in Young County because legislation was already passed through 352A10. Counties under $30,000 bordering Possum Kingdom Lake, which gives us the authority to do
They,
it.
they can assess the hotel occupancy tax to the extent that it doesn't go over
Right.
13%.
The problem here is the understanding of whether or not that's included or not. You say it is, and
I'll check, I'll definitely.
check?
Yeah, I'll double check.
then we best table that motion until we find out the particulars from her area, because the information we received was contrary to what you're discussing now. So let us find that out. Is that okay with you?
Absolutely.
It's just, do you want to do the resolution on hotel occupancy tax?
Yes, as far as the levels, can we come back later and reassign those tax levels? We're okay in the resolution at those levels, or you want to take those out?
No, I think that,
Up to the limit would be fine, huh?
yeah, I think that we should table the 2 cents that in question here, whether we can assess inside the city of Graham, legally assess.
Can we,
And
pass the resolution today and then come back and modify that?
I think,
I think everything's done by majority vote of the Commissioners Court in this resolution anyway, so let's go ahead and pass it as it is, and we'll find out what we can do. Or do you want to take that 2% out?
okay, well, I just want to make you aware of it. We go
Okay.
on the resolution.
Well, part of the reason for all the research that we did was to make sure that we develop a program that we're using the money properly and that we're collecting the money as we should. Again, the folks inside of Graham did not seem to think that they were being
Well, I don't
overtaxed. So they might not have known that.
I'm not speaking from that side of it, I'm speaking from the county side on whether we're eligible to get that. I don't believe we're eligible to go after that by virtue of the 13% total. And in some counties, it's 15 cents, and in other counties, a few other counties, it's 17. And they're specific because of specific legislation that's been written for those counties involved.
Well, we will check that, but I propose that we go ahead and set this resolution and we will find out just exactly how much we can collect.
Okay.
Comptroller should have that answer to that question. Take the comptroller?
The other comptroller should be able to answer that question.
Yes.
And, it's not that I'm opposed at all to that, I just, really
At what level we
I really question it, and I think that we should authorize 7 cents
Sure.
outside in the unincorporated areas of Young County. In the city of Olney, I sure think that we can pick up the 3 cents, but I think we'll need to do that quickly or it won't be on the table anymore.
It's open.
Huh?
It's out in public.
I think you did a good job. I think Mike did a really good job of
Yeah, he
researching
did.
this. And I'm going to second.
I had tremendous help sitting in this courtroom.
Well, on this resolution, one of the whereas, I didn't think it was quite worded right. The
I'll be
second
fine.
one, the third one, such tax is the best interest of Young County and promote tourism, et cetera. So I thought it should read, and the proceeds from this such tax will promote tourism. I just think. it needs
You've got to understand this resolution was written by a county judge
Mhm.
who's an attorney. So we've got 2 chances of being in errors here. So,
And it's written specifically for Cook County.
well, those general terms, that was changed from the Cook County resolution.
I understand that.
Obviously, yeah.
But he included that 2 cents in that specific resolution that they could pick up.
Right.
I don't think that we're gonna be eligible for. in the state, inside the city of Graham, so they're already.
If we're not eligible, we can select it, so let's go ahead and pass the resolution as we've got it written here.
Oh, Powell County's got it. Powell County.
No, you know, the law that gives us this right was actually written for Powell County.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
being bordering Possum Kingdom Lake, the population under 30,000.
Now, see, that's state legislation too.
But it had to catch
It's
us.
happened to catch 3 counties.
Anyway, it's been quite an adventure, and the possibilities here are tremendous. And we should do everything we can to make this come to fruition.
It don't sound like much, but it'll add up.
And like I say, I will work
Like I
on
said.
finding out whether that 2% is eligible. Then I will bring you gentlemen a proposal of administration on this tax.
And also, I wish you would go on ahead and consider the 7% in the unincorporated areas. And
You know, when we were discussing this with primarily with the Wildcatter, she was very concerned that the 5% would simply show up as an increased cost for her guests to sit in a
absolutely is.
room. And it is, they will be paying it, but it's not actually the cost of the room. She's just collecting that for us and passing it through, which is not unusual for anywhere that she may travel in the world, if ever, so. But we did express the fact that we would start with the 5%. And like I say, this resolution is subject to our discretion, should it need be changed at any time. So I suggest that we start with the 5% and see where that puts us so far as our programs with Fort Bell Network are concerned.
You don't want to table it till next meeting,
Huh?
you just want to go ahead.
Let's go ahead and do it just like it is,
Questionable content.
with questionable content. Yes, sir. Would it be better for you if we put 2% where applicable? Would that solve that?
I'd rather have a decision, yes, or eligible, or no.
We're eligible, we just don't know how much where.
Right.
Because you got to.
But we're gonna clarify that.
Incorporate city limits of area.
If we find out different next meeting, we change it.
Yeah. We're just getting it passed, and then we're gonna clarify it before.
And we get these letters sent out to the shareholders in this thing, let them prepare to set up their books to do that. Because really, we're only a month and a half away from them starting to collect this kind of.
Yep. That means if they gotta reprint something or whatever, they gotta get.
Whatever, I'd like very much to use the city's collection form and just change it to Young County so that they're familiar with the form. So there's no problem with them incorporating their monthly financial reports into what we're doing here.
Sounds good.
So I'll make that motion.
Second.
So we've got a motion on the table from Commissioner Sipes and a second by Commissioner Pruitt to adopt a resolution collecting a hotel occupancy tax of 5% in all unincorporated areas or all other areas of Young County, and a 2% tax inside the corporate limits of the city of Graham. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. As stated in the resolution.
Okay, is there any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
I'm going to be neutral on that until further clarified with regard to the 2%. So
I'll just vote against it too.
that's going
You
to
voted
be
against or neutral?
Same thing.
3, 1, and 1. I think, yeah. Let me go on ahead and vote for it, because if it comes back, we'll go and clarify that in that resolution.
Law won't allow us to do anything we can't do.
That's right.
Yeah. We'll have to, I'm sure we'll have to rework that resolution.
I think it's gonna be 4-1.
Yeah, it's gonna be 4-1. We'll be in recess 10 minutes. With the red dot, there you go. Okay, we'll call the meeting back to order. It is 11:02 a.m. This is the 13th day of November 2017. We're on item number 10. This discuss, consider road crossing permit. We've been discussing this for a little while, making some revisions to our application and permit document. The places in gray are those that's either been modified or added. I don't know if you've had an opportunity to review that. I think a couple of you stated that I had made that 2.5 feet. As indicated, a couple of you want to go back to 3. So we moved that back to 3 feet. Unless specifically authorized, I think it states.
Yeah, unless specifically authorized gives us room to move.
Without express written authority, you're going to go to court.
Some of those road bores and crossings, all, as you well know, if you grade those roads, the elevation changes on those roads a lot. We need as much room underneath that road, on top of that road we get.
Just considering
The geology of this country is different.
yeah, some places it's pretty hard to get 3 feet, although if you've got the proper equipment, hire the proper equipment.
And, you know, until call the commissioner out there to take a look at it, what have you.
Real hard on oil well, 3, 4, 5,000.
Got a bunch of those gas pipes underneath just this far.
And that's 2, 3, 4,000 feet down deep in the ground. So the capabilities there.
I had Brazos come out and spot some lines in the bar ditch for a culvert. And they had fiber optics on one side and 2 on the other side, and they couldn't put a new culvert in there, and there's 2 lines right down the center of the road.
So much for their market.
So much for the market.
Well, what about all these ones that have these lines running all over the place, like on McAbee? You know, on McAbee, on this end of McAbee, all those oil companies have those lines just running. I mean, they just lay them in the ditch, lay them across the road. Well, what can we do about that? We have. We've got a bunch.
Gets their attention.
We have got a bunch. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah.
That's a horrible road.
See, I got the same thing over there on Briar Creek Road.
That's just
Right.
an access
And
road.
running down
That's
some.
Over down your side.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. It's the lowest priority.
Been made this, there's been applications to close that road. It's really.
We heard any more from AT&T on that telephone line cut?
No.
Across the country.
So,
Have you?
I sent you a copy of that letter.
Yes, you did, I've got it, and I told Sherry, I said, here's the.
It shut, it,
I have a lot of people.
I guess that
like, it's so
squelched
much
it.
here. I'm like,
Well, okay, no, I hadn't heard it, I was gonna ask you if you had,
I've tried to tell you before. I'm like,
Sent in chapter and verse.
makes you nervous.
I know,
Look over for 24.
we've had issues like
Yeah,
that before.
and I had to notify AT&T again that we were.
Yeah.
Well,
We have loopholes like that.
Yeah.
one time many years ago, we were reworking Reeves Road, and Southwestern Bale telephone had come across the river with a telephone line. And they, I guess, laid it as deep as the contractor had the ability to lay it, which was about that deep.
Yeah.
You found it, huh?
They had a dozer operating on there, and we ran out down there, and all of a sudden we got to see these little spot three up some line, laying up on top of the ground, I searched that out, it's, I mean, we'd make mints made out of those telephone cables. It didn't.
I recently did that on Gatlin Road.
They were bad, they were clean.
Yeah.
I cut it out.
Yeah, the track would probably just tear it up if it was that thin.
I got the same thing over there on, Russell Road.